So hello everybody, welcome back. I hope that you like this video and that you find it helpful somehow. So anyway, grab your coffee, and if you wanted to share one with me, you will read it. Links for that down below. And I have no idea how to manage the camera for this cell phone, so I'm sorry if I look like if I was inclinated or something. So anyway, if you wanted to share one with me, you will read it. Links for that down below. And we are going to be talking about a topic that I have not talked to you in a very long time. So this is a reproduction list, playlist, or whatever you want to call it, meaning you have a lot of these videos. They will have a number and an introduction and whatever, and it's about hyperinflation and unexpected data. You will go kind of like, what do you mean? Yeah, these are going to be side effects of hyperinflation or inflation or root causes or things that are related, and you go kind of like, oh. So I'm going to be explaining a little bit a topic that is important, and it is the fact that money has a cost. And most people think that, what do you mean money has a cost? If I have a $5 bill, that means that this thing is $5. No. In economy, we have something called the money cost. As in, money, the $5 bills that you have over there is not $5, okay? If you go into a bank and then you want to borrow $5, when you get the money back to the bank, you are not going to give back $5. You have to pay the bank $5 plus the interest rate. So let's say it's 10%. So next time you come back, you gotta pay $50.50. So that cost, as in the interest that you're paying, is part of your money cost, okay? And so most people get the association of only the interest, because when you're doing calculations and accounting, the things that you add are the interest rate. So the money cost is actually whatever money you have plus whatever interest rate the central bank of your country decides to say that is the cost. So if the central bank says that you have 30% interest, then your money is actually costing you 30% more on top of the money that you already borrowed. Now, this is a concept that 99 out of 100 teens do not get and do not know. And then they also do not know about the timing for this thing. And because of this, most people will remain like clueless as in how to handle credit and how to handle credit cards and things like this throughout their entire lives. Because if you are going to pay 10% interest for a 10-year period, every month throughout 10 years, you have an exponential number. And so $100,000 over, I don't know, let's say 10 years, it can actually become, let's say that you invest it and the interest rate varies. But over time, because it accumulates every month you add. Now you are going to end up paying, or getting, depending upon whether you are investing or you are borrowing, you're going to end up paying $500,000 instead of $100,000. And then you go kind of like, what? What do you mean? I only had 100,000. No, you're actually going to pay, 500,000 later on. The reason being is that there is always on top of the interest rate, which is the one that you know, there are commissions. As in, for example, you go into the bank and you withdraw money. So there is an ATM fee. That ATM fee, depending upon how much money you have, it can be more than 10% of your money. So for example, if you go and you take $20, but the ATM fee is $2.50, you already paid more than 10% just because you want to take your money out. And this interest rate is going to be, even with a penalty, if you take it cash out of credit cards and out of credit loans and things like this. If you take it for yourself, then the bank will apply penalties to you, and this will add up. So if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to pay 10% out of 100,000, I'm going to pay 10,000. No, you're not, because you're going to pay hidden cost, like I said, from the ATM withdrawals, penalties. You are also going to pay a lot of other things that you have no clue whatsoever. And this is because a lot of industries in the entire planet depend upon the hidden costs, the things that they don't tell you when you are handling money. And so you gotta understand percentages. This is something that in math you are supposed to know when you are a sixth grader. As in, when you are 10, you're supposed to know fractions. As in, if I tell you 1/5, you should know that that is 1/5. That means that it is 1/20. That means if you were going to put it into percentages, it's 20%. If you don't understand percentages and you don't understand fractions, which is something that you should have known when you were 10 and things like this, then this is not going to make sense in your head, because you will not understand how the hell, 10% of 100,000, which shouldn't be more than 10,000, now became, 500,000 in a period of less than 10 years or whatever it is. And then, you also have to understand not just percentages, but also time. Because if you're going to pay every month, it's not the same as you paying it in 3 parts, or you paying it in 2 parts, or you paying it right now. The reason being is that if you have to pay, for example, an insurance next year, because it is a yearly thing, insurance is a yearly contract. Every January or every March or every May or whatever month you are in, you gotta renew the contract. If you gotta renew the contract, this means that you should pay it once at all. However, if you don't, then the insurance company will say, okay, I'm not going to take $1,000 from you right now because you can't afford it. So since it is going to be a yearly contract, let's divide it into 4 parts, and then you're going to pay me, I don't know, let's say that it is not going to be, $1,000. Now it's going to be $100 per month. That means that the insurance company is taking 20% more because you are paying it in a monthly fee. And therefore, this is important because you can plan ahead. So if you know that next year in March you gotta pay the insurance, then you need to save that money now, because it is not going to be $100 per month, for next year if you apply it in March. But if you get the money now, all you have to do, let's say that you are in March right now, so you're applying for March next year. If you get $90 per month from now on, and you save it for next year when you're going to pay for the insurance company, you can pay $1,000 and you will have a little bit of money spared because you were able to pay up front. The reason being is that it's going to cost you $90 instead of $100. Now, try to apply that for every single thing that you buy and every single thing that you do. For example, Christmas presents, or birthday presents, or vacations, or tuitions for schools, or whatever it is. If you save $10 to $20 for each month, for each one of these bills, and let's say that you have 5 bills, and in each one you are saving $20 on average, then you are saving $100 per month. And it is not just because that you are saving the money, because now you can pay up front and everything else, but now on top of that, you are not going to be overpaying interest later on. And also, you will not have penalties, which means that at the end, you having this financial wisdom of applying things 1 year earlier, then you can save up hundreds of thousands of dollars later on, enough to buy your kid their house up front, or enough to handle an emergency, like, I don't know, let's say that for whatever reason, God forbid, you are now, in need of a surgery or whatever, you can pay it up front. Because even if you did not pay this money for the bills that you have later on, you still have that money in your hands now. The problem with this situation is that companies and banks, they already know that this is a problem if you already understand this thing about timing. So what they do is they do something like this. Let's say that your paycheck goes into the 30 of every month. So generally speaking, everybody knows that on the 30, everybody will have money on their hands. So the companies will send you the bill on the 15th, not the 30 when you have money to pay, but on the 15th when they know that you already spent all the money. So this means that if you didn't save for those 15 days and you didn't have, financial discipline and things like this, or something came up, or there was a party that you wanted to go to or whatever, and you spend the money on the 15th, you're going to be kind of like, I need to pay the electricity bill. Yeah, but now I gotta pay on the 30 and I don't have money yet. So now, because the bill was issued on the 15th and you didn't pay within the 5 days that you were supposed to pay, so you didn't pay between the 15 and the 20, now you gotta pay a penalty. So all of the companies will be making money out of this, because they will be kind of like, yeah, you were late for 5 days. No, you were late for whatever. Yeah, but my money is on the 30. Yeah, I'm sorry, but the bill was issued on the 15th. So at this point, you gotta call all of the freaking companies that you have a contract with, and you gotta ask if it is possible to pay a little bit of a difference or whatever, and make sure that the money or the bill is sent immediately when you have the money in your pocket, because otherwise you are going to be paying penalties forever. And on top of that, you are always going to be in debt, and you will always have to pay interest to these companies because they are losing money because of you. And the reason why they're losing money is because, well, yeah, they're going to say something like, it's not my fault that you have money on the 30. So go and call your telephone company or whatever company you have and ask, hey, you know what? My paycheck is always on Mondays. Is it possible that you send the bill the same Monday? Or on Mondays, or whatever it is, depending upon the situation that you are in. Because otherwise, if you get the bill on Saturday, the money that you had on Monday was gone, long gone. Or if you get the bill on Friday, that's it, you're done, because Oh, come on, I don't get money until Monday. Yeah, I'm sorry, but now you're late and you're going to have that penalty. Yeah. So, for this, you have to have the dates, and you have to have records. And you also need to have the telephone and the company's information and things, and you might need to change the plans, the data, whatever it is, because otherwise this is going to have an impact, huge impact over your financial thing for a very long time. Because if you keep doing this for years, what do you think is going to happen? For years. And if when you go to a financial advisor, the first thing that they will tell you is put your credit cards on freeze and do this and do that, because a financial advisor, if you go and they are honest, the first thing that they are going to do with you is ask you whether you know how to do percentages, so that you can get it through your head a little bit. That is a class that if you didn't get, then breathe and watch a lot of videos about how to do that one. And if not, try to go into a class for this one. Because percentages and time, it is extremely important. Because that way you can also say something like, oh, if I get 10% for a period of this much time, then I'm going to end up spending. So that dinner is not going to be $50. That dinner, if I have to pay it on the credit card for several for 2 years, that's not going to be $50. That's going to probably cost you $80. And if you're going to take $80, that means that you're paying over more than 50%. Is it worth it? Because this thing is going to teach you about opportunity cost. That one is an entire new class. And if you don't understand the first basics, which is math, basic arithmetic, not even math, just arithmetic, as in numbers, then you're not going to understand opportunity cost, and you're not going to take into consideration your future goals and your planning. And you're going to always be messed up. Always. Because the side effect of inflation and things like this is the cost. Now, I'm going to be talking, now that you understand this one on a personal level, then I'm going to be talking to you about the things that happen when this goes beyond your community or your town. So let me explain. I have a lot of videos, about the freaking cash drama. Cash drama, oh my God. For this one, I swear to God, if there were aliens, they would probably, put on their glasses, and they would probably put up the popcorns, and they will be like, oh, come on, hurry up. It's going to be over before it even starts. Come on. Because it is such a drama that I swear to God, if you're Venezuelan, it's going to be a dramedy. But if you are from another country, you're going to be kind of like, it's a tragedy, what the hell? Yeah. So grab the popcorn. Because otherwise you are not going to believe this one. Because reality will always, no matter how you look at it, reality will always surpass the incredible and believable fiction. I swear to God, I have seen things that defy the logic and defy every single thing that you're taught in your entire life will be thrown out of the window, and you will be like, did I come into the actual, am I in this planet in which I was raised or whatever, because I'm feeling like I'm an alien. I don't understand anything. Yeah, because reality, like I said, doesn't need to make sense. And reality doesn't care what the hell your logic is. Reality will be looking at your logic, kind of like, your logic, ha ha. What the hell is that? I can't just take it out and spit it out. What the hell is wrong with you? I don't have to follow anybody's logic. I'm freaking life. So, so what does that do to you? Well, let's say that there is a town in the border of your country that doesn't have a bank, and then you go kind of like, okay, I know hundreds of towns that do not have banks, so yeah, because that town doesn't have a bank, now your money is going to cost you 20% more on a daily basis. Not even time, but daily basis. Oh, and the cheese or whatever it is that you're buying in your supermarket is going to be 40% more. Just because yesterday someone needed the bank in that town and there isn't one. So, lack of banks in key points, in key places in the entire place, in your entire country, will cost you 40% inflation, as in across everything that you do and every single thing that you want to buy or get or pay for or whatever it is, in the middle of the most amazing city that happens to have 45 banks. So, congratulations. Now you understand this one. But the thing is that, why will I care? Yeah, you should care, because if the town doesn't have a bank, 40% more of everything that you do. And then you go kind of like, what? Yeah. And I know. This one is because we already know in Venezuela. And the problem is that 99% of people are still fighting and worrying and saying, I don't care if the towns do not have banks. So congratulations. Now we have the cash drama. Cash drama everywhere, and that cash drama is costing us 40% of the inflation. Oh, and by the way, that one is on a daily basis. That means that yesterday it was 40, today it can be more. Tomorrow it can be 30, but it doesn't matter, because if the day before yesterday or a year ago it was still 40, so we're not going to lower it out of 40. But today's 20, I don't care, we're still going to set up at 40. So if it goes to a higher number, we're not going down. It's kind of like when you grow taller. If you grow taller, you can't shrink your body, okay? So once inflation happens, if it reaches a certain number, unless you go through surgery, you're not shrinking. And if you're going to go through surgery, that means pain, preparations, technicians, and people that know what the hell they are doing, because otherwise you will be worse. That means that if the government does not know what the hell they are doing with the economy, you are now going to, instead of shrink, you are going to probably be, get out of the surgery with the wrong, face, and for all I know, they took the left arm and put it into the right arm and things like this, because they decided to play Frankenstein with you. Yeah, kind of like that. So the government must know what the hell they are doing, because otherwise that's going to happen. So if the economy goes, this is the standard, there is no going back. You are not shrinking. Once it is out, it's like what people say is the genie's out of the bottle. Yeah, well, kind of like that. So if it was 40, you're not getting out of there 40. You're not getting out of 40. You're probably going to go higher, but you're not going to go lower. And there are several reasons for this. So let me explain. Right now, we have another drama. Yes, another one. What the? I mean, come on, we have dramas with the kids. We have dramas with the weather. We have dramas with the iguanas that have decided to attack, everything. We have a lot of dramas that are related to, serious to God, even trees. So we have drama with the freaking trees. We have drama with the roads. We have dramas with the cows. We have dramas with the chicken things. We have drama with the food. We have dramas with. Okay, so basically, everything is like you need popcorns every single day, and you're going to probably be fed up of the freaking thing because you're going to probably be like, I need a break and I need another type of movie. And then you will get terror movies. Oh my God. So no, hell no. Don't do that, And what happens? Here is what happens. Breathe, because you're probably not going to understand it. So bear with me. We have 3 types of exchange rates. What is an exchange rate? It means I am giving you money A and you are giving me money B. So for example, I am in Japan, but I carry US dollars. Obviously, if I go to a store in Japan, I'm not going to pay with US dollars. They're going to look at me like, what the hell? Or, I'm going to go to Japan and then I am with I don't know, with the Korean currency. And they're going to be looking at me like, you're in Japan? You're supposed to be using the Japanese yen, So you go to a bank and you take all of your money, whether it is Korean currency or US currency or euro or whatever it is. And in the bank they say, okay, here is your money back. So they take your foreign currency and then they change it to that one. Now, this is done in exchange rates or exchange points. If it is a place that has a lot of tourists, basically, everybody will change money with you and they will be competitive rates. So for example, if I take 100 euros into New York and I want to change it into US dollars, then I can go to bank A, exchange currency B, whatever, and there is competition because there is a lot of tourism. If there is no tourism whatsoever, then there has to be one major bank that will take my money and put it there. And so now we have one currency type in which you get your money and you go into a place and there is a place that you can actually go to and change your money and things like this. So it will be legal and it will be, somewhat competitive, especially if it is in a tourist point. However, understand these several things. Number one, if you exchange your money in day A, you are done because you cannot change all of your money in one day, especially in countries that are not economically stable. Because if you're going to exchange the money today, let's say that you have $100 and you go to Venezuela or Brazil, they are going to give you $10 will be worth, I don't know, let's say 100 Brazilian real or Venezuelan bolívares or whatever, so 100. But if you go tomorrow, with the same $10, you can get 150. So, no, you don't exchange all of your money at once, especially if you're in a tourist area. So, you gotta know this one. Very, very, very important. To the point in which there were times in which you went to Brazil, even from Venezuela, you went to Brazil, and the Brazilians, if you have a tour guide or something, say, no, don't change the money today. Change only $5 today, $5 tomorrow, $20, $5. Don't change all your money at once because the exchange rate is too unstable. Now, if you go to Japan, I don't care. You can do it in 20 years from now and they will still give you the same freaking rate. Because the economy is so freaking stable that in 20 years you might actually, get 2 Japanese yen more. but other than that, so no. That one is something that a tour guide, an honest tour guide will tell you. Don't change the money for the same day. And so, anyway, you get the first exchange rate in which there is a place or something that you go to. Then, if you go to another place, let's say that now you're going to go into the middle of a town, and you wanted to see a ghost town in the middle of the ghostiest place, and so there is nobody there, and so you find an exchange rate. So, first cost that you have to add to this thing. If you're going to go to a place that doesn't have these exchange rates, then you gotta take time and money and resources to get to the nearest place that you can change the money. So sometimes this can take you 2, 3, 4, and sometimes 5 hours going to the place. And then when you go to the place, there is no one to take care of you because they don't have a system, they don't have something, and whatever it is. And because, this situation is taking a whole day for you to get the money, and there is a high probability that you won't get it because they didn't have internet. Like I said, they didn't have internet, they don't have the system, whatever it is. Then you gotta try the next day. So now you spend 2 days trying to get the money. Then you go kind of like, okay, so big deal, I can do that. Yeah, try day 3. Now it's a weekend. Now you gotta wait until next Monday. Now it's Monday. Oh, but it's a national day, so there is no bank. And now, so you spent over 1 week trying to get the money. I have a question. If you needed the money to pay labor force or to pay something that was due on time, and if you don't pay on time, I told you before, if you don't pay on time, you get penalties all over, and the penalties are going to be anywhere from 10 to freaking 150% on top of everything that you're paying. Because sometimes certain penalties you will also have to pay lawyers and documentation and everything else. So that means that you're paying 150% more. So if you were paying $10, now you're paying $25. Because there is no exchange rates and there is no bank on the places that you are in. So this means that you need to take all of your cash with you beforehand. What happens if you didn't know, or you are not in a position in which you can, go through all this drama? Because you go kind of like, oh hell no, I'm not paying the penalty, whatever. So how to deal with this? That means that now you go to the second exchange rate, which means you go to somebody. You go to your neighbor, you go to your mom, your uncle, and you say, hey, I need this money, so I'm going to give you $100, but I need, this amount of bolivars now. And then they go kind of like, yeah, but if I do that with you, then I'm going to have to spend the whole next week doing that for you. And I don't have enough to pay you $100. I can only trade for 50. But if you're going to, if I'm going to have to go to all this trouble to try to get you the money, then what is it for me? And then you go kind of like, okay, let's say that you were supposed to give me, I'm changing $50. So let's exchange for 45. So that means that you took 10% to pay this person. But the problem is that you're paying 10% from the amount and you're going down. Percentages that are going down are not the same as percentages that are going up. Not the same. I told you, if you have a body and it is going taller, if you are shrinking it, it's going to cost you and it's going to be worse and it cannot be done and it's going to be different. So let's take this number aside. If you take $50 and you take 10%, that is $5. That means that you are left with 45. Now, you have 50 and now you have 45. The same 10%. However, if you were going to add 10% to this number, 45 is $4.50. It is not $5. Here, you paid $5. Here, you will make $4.50. You are not making the $5. It's a small difference, but a small difference in a huge transaction of $1,000 is a big number. Because that big number, if you have $4.50, that means that you're losing 50 cents. If you're losing 50 cents times 1,000, that is $50 more. $50 more. So, in Venezuela, we have that problem. All of the people that are working in any frontier, and I do mean frontiers and ports, if you don't have banks with thousands of dollars in cash in the major ports, major tourist centers, and major frontiers, borders, as in, for example, let's say that you are in the US with Mexico and with Canada, in these major points, if they don't have enough cash, the economy will be done because you will have to pay percentages. And this percentage, okay, so I have $1,000 and I need to pay these people, so I don't want to pay the fine, and also I need to pay the whatever, so I'm going to pay people, like my brother, my sister, my family, whatever it is, so I'm paying 20% more of the money. Now, if I am, selling milk, because I'm paying everybody so that they can take care of the cows, whatever, so on a weekly basis I have to pay this money for the cows, so the milk. So, if I'm getting $100, but I'm only getting 80, because remember, I'm paying 20% down, not up, down, then I'm paying 100, supposedly, or legally, but in reality I'm paying 80, or I'm getting 80. That means that I'm losing the 10%, or the 20% in this case, and on top of the 20% that I'm giving these people, I'm also losing the percentage that goes down. That means that I'm paying actually 25, because at the end you are saying something like from 20 you go to 25, that's it, because it's easier. We do things by easier. We don't go kind of like, okay, I'm going to be 30 cents. No, it's $1, that's it. Because your mind cannot do small calculations, so you round it up. So basically you are losing 25%. So the milk that I was supposed to save for $1, no. So the truck comes and gets the milk, and you say, hey, I'm going to pay the milk. No, it's not going to be $1. I'm sorry, it's $1.25. What happened? Yeah, I'm sorry, but I had to pay cash. So $1.25. Now, if all of a suddenly the person who is doing the transportation also has to go through this process, because it's not just you, is the person that is next to you, and then the person that is next to you, and then that person, and then the other person, and then and so now you gotta have everybody has to have a family of 40 or 50 people so that they can come up with all of the money, because how many people do you think can handle the cash that one bank handles? Do you think that, I mean, I don't know, maybe maybe you have a family member like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, or whatever, and they go kind of like, $100,000? What? It's just pocket money. Just take it. Yeah, I'm sorry, but we are regular people. We're people kind of like, oh, I have a saving of $500. So, so you need like 100 family members or friends or whatever, and then there is going to be a police involved because whatever, and so now you also have to pay bribes because other people will have to pay bribes for getting that money. Because, they can say something like, you're laundering money. Yeah. Where the hell did you get that money from? And then there is investigation and things like this. So all of a sudden, the transportation guy that is supposed to go to the supermarket goes kind of like, yeah, I'm sorry, but the milk is not going to be, I told you that it was going to be $1.25. Because, they were going to be 25 cents for each one, because you get it at $1, you sell it at $1.25. But now you go kind of like, oh, actually I paid $1.25, but then I have to pay for the cash so that I could pay for that. So it's it's $1.50. But on top of that, I also had to pay the bribes because, I was going to get into trouble. And so, and by the way, because I needed more cash than everybody else, because a huge amount of money that I had to pay, then I had to buy more money. So, no, actually, that milk costed me, it didn't cost me $1. It costed me $1.65. I ended up paying $1.65. So I am selling this to you by $2.10. And the supermarket goes, but last week, it was $1.25. Yeah, I'm sorry, but right now it's $2.10. And that is because I'm not going to do this anymore. See, people who are going to charge that small difference is because they're not doing it anymore. Because they know that if next week I have to go through the same process again, I need to save up, because I told you, if I know that next week I'm going to have to pay the insurance company, for the yearly thing, no, I'm going to, no, I need to save more. If they are going to be willing to continue with the service, that milk went from $1.25 that they were going to sell to a supermarket, they will sell it for $2.35 at least. $2.35. So it went from $1.25 to $2.35. And the supermarket goes, wait, I need to call the bank. And then the accountant, the manager goes, yeah, but if now we have to borrow money from the bank, now we gotta pay interest because, now we gotta pay more. And the bank will not allow us, because banks, which are not perfect, banks will also have security things placed upon companies. They will go kind of like, on a daily basis, you shouldn't take more than $20,000 daily, because we're going to consider that somebody is stealing the money from your place or whatever it is. So you need permissions and you need to pay penalties, because the banks have to deal with 50,000 clients, and they cannot take clients that go kind of like, oh, I'm taking all of the money from the entire bank just to please you, because you needed to get $2 million in 20 minutes. That doesn't happen either, because otherwise you will have problems. Now, what happens when you had a cost of $1.25, but now you gotta pay this person $2.35? That means that you are paying over 120% more if you have to pay that much money, that means that you have to pay more interest and more, more money and more cost and everything else. So that means that this person, who is doing this thing goes, okay, we were going to sell this thing for, before, let's say that they were going to make 20 cents. So it was 125 because that was what the initial price. But now, you were going to sell it in 145. And then you go kind of like, no. Actually, if it is 235 that we are paying now, we gotta sell it at 280. So you, the one that goes into the supermarket, the one that went last week and was paying $1, $1.45 for the milk, today you go to the supermarket and you are like, am I reading this right? 280? How the hell did it go for 280? Yeah, that's because there is no banks at the borders where things are being imported and where things are they are coming from a cashless economy in which, you go kind of like, but it's just a cashless economy. Yeah, except that the people that are at the border, people that are regular people, the people that depend upon tips, the people that depend upon everything, and the people that actually work do not take cashless economy. They take cash. And they take huge amounts. And you require at least, the financial institutions, they need to be huge. If you don't have those institutions in key points in your entire country, you're missing one place, boom. And then you're thinking, yeah, but it's just one place. I mean, it's not, one place. It's going to make your milk 140% more money. Because there is one bank missing. Now try to imagine if instead of missing one bank, you are missing hundreds of banks. That number, you're not going to even be able to figure out. Because in every, just breathe and think about 1 second. How many things, in terms of percentages, out of 100 things that you have in your house, how many of them come through a port or anything related to that? I'm going to bet that it is at least 50% or more. Even in an economy like Japan. Like I swear to God, Japan's economy is kind of like the most. You trying to shut down the economy in Japan, you will be kind of like you trying to shoot a ghost. Okay? And the reason is that this economy has all kinds of crazy things that do not apply for the rest of the planet. Okay? But if you are going to do this for everybody else, now, these major banks, for working, they need electricity. And guess what? If you are a major port, but nobody wants to live in there, because, who the hell wants to live in the middle of nowhere? Except that in that middle of nowhere, there are major ports, or major farms, or major industries. And people are like, yeah, but that one is Do you have any idea? A place that looks, I swear, there are places that I swear to God look like ghost towns. And I swear to God, even in that place, ghosts will be scared of living in there. Ghosts will be kind of like, that ghost town? Oh, hell no, we're leaving. But the amount of money that flows into that thing, I swear to God, it's like you walk on gold. And yet, nobody wants to be in there. It's like these places are haunted beyond, and so they don't have bags. But guess what? Even the ghosts require an economy that works with electricity and people. And that doesn't happen. And when that doesn't happen, you will be paying 150% more on a daily basis. And then it will be more next week. Because everybody will find out that there is gold in the actual ghost town. And people will be flocking into this place. And when people flock into this place, because it is gold, haunted gold thing, yeah, that is going to be another drama. I swear to God. So prepare the popcorn for sequel number 2 later on.